It's part 4 of our conversation with John Anderson. I'm John Beaudin from Rocky Street Music.
Were you surprised by the success of Friends of Mr. Cairo?
I always thought Friends of Mr. Cairo was really happening. Again, we had a manager and we had a record company. It was one of those things. Friends of Mr. Cairo was released. I can tell you the story. Friends of Mr. Cairo happened again because I walked in, we'd gone for lunch. He starts playing something, and I started singing, da 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 da. I get into that like a movie, you know. And we recorded that section. I said, could you try a different style of music, like an old-fashioned movie? Oh, yeah, I can do that, yes. And then he edited it all together, and it was like a song that was based on the Maltese Falcon, and in the middle section, all about how gangster movies were financed by the gangsters in those days because they wanted to be street cred, you know? And then the end of the song is when I'm looking up and seeing Greta Garbo on the silver screen, you know. So that was a beautiful day. And it happened that we recorded these songs. We recorded one song. He was in Paris at the time, and I was there rehearsing. And I just wandered over to the studio where he was, and he was doing such a wonderful groove it was. And I started singing, and it was one of those songs that the lyrics just popped out all the way through. Virtually 80% of the lyrics were there right away. And it was State of Independence, sort of thing. They all sound the same now. But State of Independence was really the single. And I told the manager, this is the single. Okay, John, yes, I agree, John, yes. Vangelis, my love. Yeah, they don't listen. So the neat thing that happened is that a good friend of mine, Lee Abrams, who used to follow Yes a lot, and then he got into radio and changed radio around here, there, and everywhere. And we're still friends. But he sent that album, Friends of Mr. Cairo, to Quincy Jones, and he was recording Donna Summers. And there's a beautiful photo. You can actually Google it. It's, I think you can Google it by saying Michael Jackson, State of Independence, something like that. And it's on YouTube. And you've got all these incredible singers singing State of Independence with Donna Summers, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful story. But the best story about Friends of Mr. Cairo, the record company Polygram in London released it, and it didn't do very well. And it was a different cover. It was a white with a black and white sort of drawing of me and Vangelis, you know, sort of 30s sort of style drawing. And it didn't do very well. And I got a phone call from Vangelis, probably 4 o'clock in the afternoon one time, and Vangelis was upset. You know, he said, Johnny, we have a problem. The record company, they want some of their money back because the record is not happening. But they did mention if we could hit a hit song, write a hit song, it would save the album. I said, okay, I'll be over in half an hour. So I went over and he's starting this rhythmic thing going, and I wrote, and with him, I wrote, I'll Find My Way Home, which was a monster hit, except for America, because Vangelis' manager had a big argument with the record company exec, and they said, John Vangelis, forget it. They didn't promote it at all, whereas it was top 10 in Canada, you know, kind of things like that. Top 10 in England, top 10 in France, Germany, because of one song. It made the album a hit. I could ramble on forever, I'm sorry. You know, in the 70s, Rick had left the band. You know, it was a kind of a chaotic period of time, Topographic Oceans, and I feel so blessed that I did an interview the other day, and at the end of the interview, the guy said, oh, by the way, Topographic is my favorite. And I went, thank you. because you go through so much making an album, you know. And so basically, I wanted to. As soon as Rick had left, I'd been listening to Vangelis, and I sensed the potential of bringing in this monster of a guy with a vast amount of sounds and incredible musician, Vangelis. And I'd actually gone to Paris to meet him, you know, and I tell the story on my solo show that I sort of called him up and I said, hello, Vangelis? Yes. My name's John Anderson. I'm in a band called Yes. What's Yes? I don't know Yes. I'm a singer. Oh, come over. Okay, so I go over to his Palacio. He had a palace of an apartment in Paris. And it was great to meet him. I actually, you know, if you fall for somebody, it's like because he's so incredibly talented for one thing, but such a lovely energy, you know, like you've met your long lost brother or something like that, you know. And so I tried to get him into the band, but it just wouldn't work because he was very free form and the band is very structured. Free form structure is like water and olive oil. It doesn't mix. And so he stayed on in London and he called me up one day, Johnny, come over to my studio, you know. So I went over and we wrote a song for his album, Heaven and Earth. And from then on, I go once a week and write and sing songs with him because it was so easy and so different. Yes was probably my mental creation, along with Steve and Chris, of course, was that we knew what we wanted to create. You know, we just knew that we had to go this way, this way, you know, and that it'll work because that's who we are. Vangelis was the opposite. It was like jazz. Everything was chance. In fact, the recordings we did were always based on the first take. I know it sounds crazy, but he would play and then I would sing. And then after 2 minutes or so, 3 minutes, or 4 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes, I'd say, okay. Because I look at him and sort of modulate another chord structure. Because he would go the choir and orchestra and thunder and lightning going on in the studio with Vangelis. And I'd be singing these songs I never dreamed of singing, you know, really out there, and some love songs and some powerful idea songs. And then at the end of the evening, well, we'd work on the afternoon, and then in the evening he would edit the music to tighten it up, you know, and I'd be understanding, okay, well, I'll sing this part, I'll sing so then I walk in and he was like very advanced in terms of sound. Listen to anything that he's done, you know, and he'd have it sounding like heaven. I walk in and sing it, da-da. Then that was one song, and they would do a song a day, or 2 songs sometimes.
Yeah.
Make sure you comment on our videos, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. And buy a t-shirt, help support our channel, link in the description of this video. I'm John Beaudin from Rocky Stream Music.